Ginger Crystal Faith. Ginger, how are you?
I'm great, JJ. Thanks for having me on. This is my very first podcast.
Hot dog. I'm
I'm
excited.
excited. I'm located in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Cool. Cool. Um, I wanted to talk about real estate. We all get started in a different way at a different time. What were you doing like in high school and your teens and 20s, college? Were you doing school or what were you doing then?
Well, actually, I got involved with real estate very early. I read a book called Nothing Down by Robert Allen. So people have been in the industry for a long time. They know Robert Allen. He's an old timer now. But at the time, that was kind of the cool thing. And I read his book, Nothing Down. And he laid out a wealth strategy. And he said, if you buy one house per year for 10 years and pay off the mortgages, there's your retirement strategy. And I read this in the early 90s. And so I thought I would just jump it. And I thought, well, how about if I buy a six family house right away? And so that was my leapfrog 30 years ago into real estate investing world.
Your first acquisition was a multifamily.
Was a multifamily in 1994. It was the 7,000 square foot Victorian house, and it was really ugly, and it looked like a haunted house. But I thought it was so cool. I ended up painting it purple, cream, and pink, and it was a painted lady, and I got all sorts of attention for it. And then I got tenants lining up with applications, wanting to rent it as soon as I dolled it up to a painted lady. And I had no frame of reference for this at all. It was just something like I looked at it and I thought, this should be pretty colors. And I mean, I had more guts than brains at the time. But it worked out and that launched my career. And it was literally in 1994. So it'll be 30 years.
As you got going in, obviously you made multiple acquisitions through the years. Uh, did you start the real estate education platform? And there are groups out today like Seb2, Astro, Fortune Builders, you
I
know.
read books and I did things. If you've seen me, you've seen me on Facebook. I had my tool time belt. I
Mhm.
had my shorts and my hiking boots, and I was over there flipping properties in 1996,
Oh,
right? So that was just something I just like, let me figure it out. And I would talk to people and I talked to other successful investors who were out also doing it. They were all guys at the time. And a funny story that I'm putting in my new book I'm writing, in 1995, I think it was 95, I attended a class on trusts, how to open up a trust to protect your assets because my assets were growing really quickly. And one of the guys actually asked me if I was there looking for a husband. At the time, it was like shocking, but now it's just a joke. It's kind of funny now, not because women were not investing in real estate, and they definitely weren't putting on work boots and tool belts and figuring this stuff out in the 90s. That was just something so strange. But I wanted to learn, and I was just been an avid learner. So I attended several classes, but I would do the cheapy weekend workshops, and then I would read the books and then I would do it. I never invested heavily into my education until about 5 years ago.
mhm.
And it was only because there's been a lot of technology that's been growing really quickly, and I wanted to make sure that I was up on things that might be more current. One of the challenges being 30 years in the business is that you think of old prices and you think of old things before inflation. And so and old ways of doing things. So it's critical right now. Things are going so quickly and they're outpacing us all the time. So we really have to keep on top of things. So now I'm more, not only do I have my own education that I'm working on, but I find that through my learning through others, I'm able to help others as well. So
Mhm.
it's pulling from the past, but also being on that razor's edge because the future's different and it's always evolving. And we really have to keep on top of things.
As you've grown into multifamily, have you found it easier? Are you all in your local area? Are you out of state also? How far do you go with your ownership? I mean, are you in one state, two states, multiple states?
Yeah, that's a great question, JJ. And that's one of the evolutions. Okay. one of the things that my life's mission is, JJ, is to, I've been a successful real estate investor for 30 years, and I have developed techniques over the past 30 years that I feel like I can help women compress 20 years into 5 years by strategies. And there are things today that are available. Airbnb was not available when I was buying multifamilies, when I was buying houses, and long distance. If you talk to some of the old timers, they say long distance, state by state, um, uh, property ownership is not possible. But then the young people are doing it. I noticed about 10 years ago. So, right. So if the young people, why are the young people doing it? Because they don't know that it can't be done. I have property in California, and I also have property out of state. Some of them are with property managers, and others on my Airbnbs, I literally just have a ground team, and I manage it, but I have a ground team who really are doing most of the work. I just make sure everything is done properly. And even my rentals here in California, they're not in my backyard. They're a little further out, where the price ratios work a little bit better. So I visit them maybe once a quarter. I try to, just to see how everything's going, but I have an amazing ground team. So those are things that weren't available years ago. And so we are so incredibly blessed right now that we can compress time by learning and knowing what strategies are available right now. And Airbnb is one of them.
Does every property that come your way, do you keep them all? Are you exclusively buy and hold? Are you wholesaling anything? Are you just maybe doing little repairs, rehabs, and then selling to other investors, or is it strictly buy and hold for you?
That's a great question, JJ. I'm a broker. I've been a broker since 2005 in California, so I help people. Okay. And again, my one of my major focuses is how can I help women use real estate to create wealth, right? So with that, some situations I'm literally brokering the deal. I have something come to me, and I'm educating women, or men too, of course, but I'm educating women. Before we got on the call, I have a young lady who's going out to an open house now. I have a buyer agreement. She and I are going to be working together. But I was giving her, I don't have to do the open house with her. She can go and look around and see if it's a nice house while I visit with you. But afterward, I'll be reading the inspection reports with her, and so on. Right. So I'm not just buy and hold. My team recently flipped up a really nice property. We bought it for 2 million. We put in 1.25, and we sold it for 4.8. So that was a flip. But I took the cash and I bought two buy and holds with it. Not all of it. Some of it I squirreled away, and some of it I paid taxes on. But so it's really about the wonderful thing about real estate and the opportunities that are here for us is it's your creativity is endless. So it's really a matter of like, what is this particular situation? What are the challenges with this particular situation? And is this is the highest and best a buy and hold? Is the highest and best to just pitch it? Is the highest and best to just sell it, to a retail buyer just as is?
Have you always worked by yourself? Have you implemented VAs? Have you had to build out a team?
Yes, I've always had help. I've always had help, and all sorts of help, between contractors and mentors and virtual assistants. I use Fiverr, I use Upwork. We've got cleaning ground crew for the Airbnbs. So you need that. You need handymen, you need HVAC people, contractors of all sorts. The big challenge, of course, is vetting everybody, because it's imperative to have an A team. Title companies. You have to have the best title companies. A bad title company can ruin your life, as can a bad contractor, right? So it's imperative to have a great team. The book Who Not How, I'm revisiting right now. It's a fantastic book by Dan Sullivan. So it's critical, especially if you're pushing to higher goals, and if you know what your natural genius is. I say that people have one of three natural geniuses. Are you a people person, connecting person? Are you a systems person? Or do you like to build things? What is your natural genius? If you focus on real estate and just focus on that natural genius that you have, then it's imperative upon you that you hire everything else out, or joint venture with people who have strengths that you don't have, and then split the profit. So really, my natural genius is people. I love people. I'm a server. I am a Labrador retriever, a golden retriever. You know, I just love helping people. That's my natural genius. I'm not a systems person, but I implemented systems because they're critical. But then as soon as I can, I hire them out. And then building things, I experimented with building things. That's why I chronicled the Pink Tool Belt Chronicles in some of my journeys. One of my partners said, you should do a Pink Tool Belt Chronicle, because I wear the pink tool belt when I actually help the guys. But that's not my natural genius. My natural genius is like you, it's connecting people, and also strategy. I'm very creative. I can put deals together.
Ginger, we seem to have a couple questions from the audience, so I'm going to bring a couple people on here. Let's see here. Cynthia Ware, you are on with Ginger. What's your question?
Hi, everyone. Thanks, JJ, for the platform. And Ginger, it's a delight to hear your story. Okay, so my question is, and it's also a goal that I have for this year, is two things for you. How did you go about to put a team together? And when did you decide to pick up real estate as becoming an agent or something?
I would recommend the book Who Not How by Dan Sullivan to talk about building a team. The answer to your question is, what is your goal? Okay, so for example, I have teams in place for my out-of-state rentals that are different from my out-of-state Airbnbs, that are different from I'm also a mortgage broker, okay, and I'm a real estate broker. I have different teams because they perform different duties. I'm also a builder. So I've got different teams. Since we're talking about Airbnb, I'm assuming is that the question specifically? How do you go about getting the team for an Airbnb?
Well, I got my eye on a property outside of Detroit. It's 5 minutes walk. You'll be at the casino. It's been sitting there empty. It's two of them, two buildings right next to each other.
Yep.
And I go on Google Earth every now and then and look at it. I want that property. I think it would be a great business Airbnb.
The first thing to do is to go on the Airbnb website and you target that area. You find out what other Airbnbs are doing in that area and how much they're making. It's very easy to do. You start spying on your competition. So once you know what your and then you look at how busy are they? How booked are they? Okay. So then you know how much you can charge. Once you do that, how far are you away from this property?
From Missouri, I would be in Detroit in hour and 20 minutes.
Hour and 20 minutes. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's good. That's not too bad. So if you have to be there for something, it's not, you're not taking multiple layovers. I would go on to Thumbtack and onto Craigslist and start looking into contractors. Okay. And then another level of, and it's really important that you're not going to get a contractor who's going to hurt you.
When did you decide to become a broker, and did that help you in this real estate investor industry? Did it help?
That's a great question. I flew out. I flew out to California in 2001, and I became a mortgage broker right off the bat. And then, honestly, it was just to help my clients, because as a mortgage broker, I found that having an extra license gave me better rates for my clients. So I went through all that extra work to help my clients. But when the short sale, when the mortgage crash happened,
yeah,
and clients were coming to me saying, I lost my job, I lost my spouse, what am I going to do with this house? It's upside down. I started short selling. Within a few years, I ended up flipping 52 properties. And wow. I did it as an independent, because I didn't have a broker to tell me what to do or whatever. I just started doing it myself. and I controlled the whole situation. I worked with investors, I worked with myself, we bought property from the banks directly, and then we fixed them up and resold them. And by having a broker license in that case, and I didn't do it for that reason, I did it to but I always think, the more you know, the more credentialed you get, the more you learn, you absolutely you're adding value, and you don't know from moment to moment where the market is going to go. And I think that's the exciting and dynamic part of this. And the more you have the more tools you have available to you, the better off you are if you're serious about the business.
Serena Bales, you are on with Ginger. What's your question?
Yes, thank you so much. I'm also a real estate agent, so thank you so much for being on here. And thank you for the book recommendations. I've not read Nothing Down, but in the beginning, what was more important? Was it appreciation or cash flow?
I love that question. And I've actually really thought about that question. It's a personal thing. It's a totally
Right.
personal thing, right? If you're in California, there are literally people who they put the 20% down and they're like, I know this, I'm going to be writing a check for the next 5 years, but let's just say you're writing $100 a month check for 5 years, but the property is appreciated $500,000 in the 5 years. That's money in the bank, right? But if you're in an area, but if you're like at a retirement, you want retirement money and you just want the cash flow because you want to travel, right? If you want to travel and you want the cash flow, then absolutely just focus on the cash flow. Of course, if you can do both, right? So you want to go focus on areas where the job growth is robust, job opportunities are robust, unemployment is low. You can always find that on city-data.com or the census, bureau, and crime is low, right? Those are areas. Those are the thumbnail sketches of what you want to look for. And so if you can get appreciation, what you don't want is depreciation. You don't want to be getting cash flow and then not being able to sell it. Otherwise you take a hit. Then what's the point, right? So you want to at least keep a little bit of growth there, because you can. You can. If you do the proper research, you can go in an area where it will go up if you buy a quality piece of property.
Deanna, you're on with Ginger. What's your question?
Oh, first of all, hi, Ginger. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
You are super duper amazing. You're a superwoman. I tell you, you're so knowledgeable in so many different areas.
You're kind. Thank you.
But I have a short-term rental question. So, if you don't mind telling us, what markets are you in? Why did you choose those markets? And are you still adding to your short-term rental portfolio?
Yes, I am in Northern California, and I am in Cleveland, Ohio, Cleveland Heights, Ohio, not specifically Cleveland proper, but Cleveland Heights. AirDNA and Mashvisor are excellent resources. You can literally use AirDNA and Mashvisor to find out what are the hottest areas in the country right now. And they will tell you and why. What's the average median price home? Okay, and they will give you the data. Now, I didn't want to choose the hot areas because I didn't want more competition. I wanted what they considered the best areas. Okay, and there are some really great areas. So that's how I would, if you were going to want to extend your rental portfolio, I would use those resources. Okay. Number one. Number two, Northern California, because it was nearby and I knew the numbers. And one of my properties, I renovated it, and then there was this weird gap in the market and it wouldn't flip, at least not for a profit. And I loved the house because I knew it was solid core quality. And I didn't want to let it go because I had invested quite a bit in renting it. And now it's been one of my best performers. It's been amazing. So it's kind of one of the flip that flopped, So it kind of just happened. And then I was like, oh, look at this. I can pay the mortgage. And now I pulled cash out and I built another one on the property, and that's doing really well as well. And use your own criteria. So for me, it has to be a direct flight or a quick car ride if I need to get there, right? So United Airlines has a direct flight daily from SFO to Cleveland. Now, one of the things that's critical to be aware of is when you're buying across the country, honestly, I am not a believer. Somebody else, I know people do this all the time, but I want to be there. I want to look at it. At least in the beginning. At least in the beginning. I had 8 contracts in the Cleveland area. Beautiful photos online. And then I went there without the realtor, and I went there without the person showing me, and I saw, like, drug deals being done and this going on, and I'm like getting a creepy feeling. Or I went in there and I went, what were they thinking? They renovated it and they didn't know what they were doing. The quality of the workmanship was horrifying. Like, and I'm a luxury builder too, so I'm like, so finally I ended up, after 8 killed contracts, I ended up with this really gorgeous house. If anybody wanted to look it up, you can look up Airbnb Magic Manor, Cleveland Heights, Ohio. It's called the Magic Manor. And it's just a fantastic house, and it was well priced, and a great neighborhood. A couple of things I think would be of value, also very much value. Think seriously about whether or not you want to be in the city or not. A lot of times cities now are kind of getting a little funky with their regulations, and that could be a danger point, right? And you have to be careful of that. Classically, some of the areas that are more safe are near national parks and places where they've already had short-term rentals, little cabins, and B2Bs back, many years, and they like the revenue because they're a little off the beaten path. They enjoy that extra revenue that we create for them, and they're less likely to regulate. The challenge with that is a lot of Airbnbs are figuring that out. So Gatlinburg is already being like chomped up and whatnot. So you have to worry about dilution. Right. So that's always, things we have to take into consideration.
Are you still building your portfolio in today's market?
I am open to it. I've been focusing my energy on the commercial market for 2024. I think there's a lot of opportunity because of the shakeup with the rates, and I'm seeing this shakeup in the commercial. So I'm kind of focusing on that right now. I'm open to building the portfolio if in as things flow. If I see opportunity. The other thing that's valuable, and what I have, like, in my creative little mind, I have little ideas of how and when. I love the hospitality world. I don't know if any of you saw the YouTube video of the guy who built a lake. He had this crappy lake, and he cleaned out the lake and put 5 A-frames around it, and he's doing great. So I have if I see, sometimes I'll be poking around for lakefront and and things like that. So I'm open to it for sure. And also using the property, I've got about 1 acre on one of my properties that's underutilized. I'm just putting a pickleball court on it right now. Because that's the fastest growing sport, and in Airbnb, it's the fastest growing, right? So that will attract. So I'm in the process of doing that right now, being stalled by the weather, but that's picking up shortly. And so I would encourage you, if you have an Airbnb, how much land do you have? How much land will they allow you to build on? One of the cool things I did with one of my Airbnbs is I built out, we had 1,000 square feet extra of, check this one out. It's called the Cowboy Farmhouse in Placerville, California. It's absolutely adorable. And it was a garage and a workshop that was attached to the house. And it was, every time I walked in there, I'm like, oh, I got to do something with this. I got to do something with this. So one day I pulled cash out of the house, and then I built up, and it's just fabulous. And I've got like so many great reviews on it. It's, one of the best loved houses, guest favorites type of thing.
Naomi, you are on with Ginger. What's your question?
So, thank you first and foremost for the wealth of information. I've been looking for quite a while now how to blend my passion for health with my real estate passion, and venturing in to put together some shorter term, longer term rentals with tools, devices, and equipment to help people heal. It's something I wish I would have had.
Mhm.
But my question to you is, what are some pitfalls when it comes to, say, CYA, for protection and security? What are some things that you think I need to consider to protect the investments and the equipment that I'm going to put in?
Insurance, umbrella insurance. Umbrella insurance. And I don't, I mean, specific insurance, if you have like high-tech equipment. Yeah, and then finding somebody who knows how to maintain the equipment, as well as I would do video instructions to the clients on how to use the equipment. Make sure that they don't mess it up. They don't start pushing buttons and like it did with my HVAC system, right? Is that what you're kind of looking for? You're thinking of putting
Yeah,
expensive
and the equipment, I'm going to keep it
rental?
simple enough that they have a less likelihood of, messing it up. But these are pricier investments that most, average person are not going to be able to bring into their house, but to have that as a powerful tool in your recovery, it would have made such a difference for me. It would have sped up everything so quickly. So you said umbrella insurance is a big thing to consider.
I know I have specific insurance on that particular machine, warranties on the machine. Make sure you have your warranties and somebody who can maintain the machines if it's a specialty. Yeah, that's what I would, that's probably the best thing I can think of to protect that. Now, Airbnb's got a certain amount of coverage, but I don't know how that translates. Typically, in the beginning, I don't know what happened. In the beginning, when I was doing Airbnb, I found that there were people who were more disrespectful to the property. I don't know if it's that things changed nationally with the rating systems with Airbnb. It became more known. I like to think it was something I did that I got better people, something, up the game. But I find that most people are very, very respectful of my houses. And and maybe it's the price point. I don't know. Maybe if you charge a higher price point, but I think it could be one of the good things about using the Airbnb system is that there is an accountability and they are expected. The other thing is, this is something that's, I think, very valuable. You can, in the Airbnb app, you can basically tell people what your house rules are. And you can write them down and put them on the refrigerator about and respect for the material, respect for this machine. My cleaners told me when I put a big sign on the refrigerators, here are the house rules, that people left the place nicer than when I didn't do that. So you might want to do that in your descriptions. I have a very detailed, and Airbnb said something like, people don't like a lot of house rules. And I thought, well, they can go somewhere else then, because I put it was very respectful, but it basically is a long, this is what I expect. This is what it's long and it's respectful. It's always about, look, I want to keep a beautiful house for you. And so this is why we do this. And so in your case, I want to keep a superior machine that actually works, that can actually help you. And in order to do this, we need you to have the utmost respect for this wonderful miracle machine that I have here for you. Something like that. I think that might help as well.
Omar, you're on with Ginger. What's your question?
All right, thank you guys for hosting this. I have a two-part question. My first question is, I have a college friend that started launching Airbnbs about a year and a half ago. He's extremely successful, and he has answered some of my questions recently. He has a bunch of units in the same city that I'm at in Los Angeles. My question is, should I just go up to him and ask him? And this is like a weird question, but should I just ask him if he knows any landlords? Because I'm gonna definitely start by renting out apartments. Should I just ask him if he knows of any landlords that would automatically just be okay with renting out a unit for Airbnb? That's my first question. And then my last question would be, I've been saving up for about a year and a half, and I have around $10,000 cash flow, and then I've built my credit up to having better credit. I now have access to around 12,000 in credit cards. So my question to you would be, am I ready to launch my first unit with that kind of income, or should I get more cash flow? I guess I'm just a little bit scared, but it's like I need to start at one point. So what do you think?
Yeah, I would start with by doing the rental arbitrage for sure. Not,
Uh-huh.
renting it. And you could actually ask your friend who's successful already if you can help him.
Oh,
He probably is overwhelmed and he needs help.
yeah.
So ask him say, hey, how can I help you? Here are my assets. Here's what I have going for me. How can I help you? And then he will more than likely you could get some sort of financial arrangement while you get an apprenticing. You get a free education, plus you can make money. And he's more than likely, if you pitch it the right way, I would
Mm-hmm.
work on the wording, and find out what is it that you need, find out where his pain points are. Because if he
Okay.
grew really fast, he's got some pain points, and the pain points are help. So you might want to say, hey, does he need an HVAC guy? Does he need a cleaning people? Does he need this to just volunteer to help him? And then after you help him, ask him, say, you know what, I really would like to do this. But I would go in, lead with a giving hand, find out how you can help him. And then once you do that, I think that's the best way to start.
Okay, I will say I think he already has a great team. And when we did speak, I did offer my help. I said if you're ever out of town and you have an emergency or you need this or that, I'm here. And he said thank you. And then he gave me every piece of information. He's never been greedy about information, which is lovely. He did grow them really fast. Do you think with the kind of capital that I have, an average apartment in LA, a one bedroom, a studio probably 1,800, a one bedroom probably 2,400, a two bedroom around close to 3,000. So do you think with 10,000 like cash flow, am I ready to find my own place in case he doesn't need help?
With 10,000 cash flow is not bad. You might need a backer. You might want a backer, a family, maybe a family friend in case you get into a tight situation.
Okay.
And then but look into go on the Airbnb, find out who is getting what kind of income, and how you can do a little bit better than them. The goal is to get it to cash flow as quickly as possible and not have to pull any money out of you. The only challenge is, of course, you're going to have to do the furnishing, right? And I am the queen of furnishing on the cheap. I am the queen. So I will share with you. Just let me know. I'll get you my video. I'll share it with JJ. My first video, it was like all the ways you can furnish on the cheap and like still look 5-star, right? Because
Yeah.
that's like what I love to do. But see if you can get it. Do your research on the Airbnb website. What are they making? So if you get a studio apartment and you're paying, $2,000 a month, will it be able to bring you 3,500? If he's doing well, it can be done. So I would do that. You would just get a backer. 10,000 is respectable, and you want to get started, but just make sure you cover your back end in case you get a hiccup. What if something happens and something happens? You always got to have a reserve. Do you have any reserve?
What's reserved?
That means like 20,000, 100,000, whatever, money in the bank, cash,
Okay.
just in case you need to pull it. Something, my first house, the HVAC went like, years ago. I went, oh crap, right? That's 10 grand. And that was a good deal back then to
Yeah.
redo the HVAC, right? Something, but if you're renting, it's going to be different, but there might be things that'll come up. You'll need less if you're renting.
Okay.
Now, if you're going to talk to landlords, one thing I would recommend is pitch them on business travelers.
Yeah.
You could, yeah, pitch them on business travel. So I'll be having business travelers coming in and, we're going to, and tell them that you're going to be cleaning it every week. And then you're going to have professional maintenance. You have a crew and all that stuff so that they'll know that their house is going to be well taken care of. Airbnb is getting more popular now, so it's not a barrier resistant like it was like 10 years ago. But
Okay.
yeah, you can definitely do it. You can do it.
Okay.
What are your thoughts about buying an existing Airbnb? I understand it is a twofold question, but curious on your take.
I love that question. That's a great question. My first question is like, why did they fail? Right? That's like 100%. Like, why did they fail? Okay. So I am not opposed to that at all. I haven't done it, but I've seen it. I've seen it online in different groups. Okay. Are they terrible decorators? Were they bad hosts? Were they sloppy? Were they lazy? Were they lazy? Also, is it overpriced? Are you buying the house or are you buying the unit? Right? So how much is it going to cost you and how can you do better? So it still gets down to the basic thing, but I think it's a great idea conceptually, as long as you can address those hot spots. Maybe, but again, it just depends on the numbers and can you do better? If they have crappy furniture in there and they went to the Salvation Army, and you look at that like, now I have to get rid of their crappy furniture and make the thing nicer, and is it going to be more work for me to do? So, but it's worth looking into.
Valentina, you're on with Ginger. What's your question?
Yeah, Ginger, thanks for taking time to be with us and being patient answering. Guess what? I'm in the Cleveland area. I'm like only half an hour from Cleveland Heights.
Oh,
And
beautiful.
yeah, and I already saw the house, as you were talking. I Googled, I texted you already. You have all my information if you need any help.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm willing. I'm a people person. When you said that it's in Airbnb, my first question was like, oh, I never thought of the Cleveland Heights. What are usually people coming to that area for? Like, and what's the base what you are saying, occupancy and the rate of, how is
Yeah.
that doing?
Yeah, that's a great question. The biggest draw is the Cleveland Clinic. It is one of the
Yes.
world-renowned. I mean, people. There one client actually told me, I happened to be there at the time. They said that my mom had a very specific type of heart surgery, and it is only offered in the Cleveland hospital in the entire world. In the entire world,
Wow.
and they have some of the best hospitals on the planet. And I specifically chose something within a 5-mile radius of that clinic. It's a mega campus. So that was my big draw. Right now, what I'm doing is I'm having my cleaning person, because we've dropped off, of course, for January. It's cold there. It's after Christmas, so I'm going over to I'm having her going over to some of the hotels, the extended stays, and drop in flyers on contractor, because there are some contractors who do interior work even in the wintertime, and anybody who has a truck with a phone number. So we're trying to drum up business right now in January. So it is definitely seasonal. We did fine. Everything was great. I got it in June. June 9th was our kickoff date, and everything's been fine right up until this month. It kind of dropped off a little bit. So we're seeing what we can do to kind of get up a little bit, but it's cold there and it's snowy and rainy. So before I was talking about place being seasonal, right? And that is, but it's fine up until Christmas, but now we're noticing, but this is our first year. Also, Cleveland, generally speaking, Airbnb, according to the Airbnb statistics, is 135% more volume of people looking to rent in the Cleveland area. So they're up substantially. So
Yes.
they were part of the my AirDNA and Mashvisor research is one of the best markets in the country. So that's one of the reasons. And I have a property manager there that I call on him for anything. He doesn't visit my property at all, but if I need him for something, the HVAC guy the other day, right?
Yeah,
So
yes. And then I went today, JJ, to the powerhouse of the SAP2 meeting, power hours that SAP2 of the area has.
Yeah.
And the guy that is leading, he said he's a construction guy. He has his own team, Ginger. So I can sure connect you with him if you need to.
tell him he should save money and go to the Magic Manor instead of the extended stay.
Yes. Yes.
We can
The other thing.
We'll do a Valentina deal.
Yes. I don't know if you have thought of that, but I worked for the Cleveland Clinic. I know the system inside out, and there is another hospital there, University Hospitals, a good one as well, big competitors, like you said. But another advantage of that area that I was looking for myself is there are some big universities. It's the same distance, like Case Western, Cleveland State, or Metro Health is another 20 miles, but there are buses down that road. So, yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, good, good. And then
Yeah.
did you buy that as a creative financing or
You know, I actually did. I
good?
posted,
Yeah.
here's what I did. I posted an ad on my Facebook and I said, I'm looking for someone to partner with me on it. I got some clients of mine who put up the down payment. And then I contacted somebody who wanted to invest in real estate. And I said, hey, so and so, I have this property. Would you like to be a bank? And what are you making in the bank? And it's like, okay, 3% in the bank. And like, well, I'll give you X. And so I did private lending completely on that. And then my bank gave me a free credit card because I opened up a LLC in my bank and they just sent it to me and they said, hey, it's free for 18 months. I said, that's good enough to furnish this property. So I used it to furnish it. And it literally on that one, it was like zero down. So
That's good. And I had another question. How did you get the lead for that? Yeah.
well, I had, like I said, I had eight properties that I was in contract and I killed them. We happened to be there. Me and my partners, we happened to be there and we went to an open house.
Oh, okay.
And I thought, this is great. Look at this place. And the numbers are good. You know, Cleveland properties, the taxes are high there, but the property values are really, really compressed for the value you get. So we end up getting it for a really good deal and the numbers work. So it ended up working out.
Good. The last thing is I send you a picture of the tree very close to the house. Look at that and share with them what you think. If that's because we have high winds, the Cleveland Heights is in the snow belt. It's very close and it may be break. The trunk is very slim. I feel it will gonna like anytime will fall or on the
Oh,
property.
that's interesting. Okay. So you sent that?
Yeah, I already sent you the picture.
All right. Fantastic.
I think it's for me, but depends on your risk.
Yeah, no. I will definitely take a look at it. One of the things, honestly, I liked about this property is it didn't have a lot of trees and bushes and things to maintain close to the house. But there are trees on the outside and in the back for sure. And so
Yeah.
whatever you saw. Yeah, so I will definitely take a look at it. I've got a ground team there. I'll contact.
Thank you.
Yeah, no,
Thanks.
thank you. That's fantastic. Yeah. That's great having a network. I appreciate that. Thanks. And thanks, JJ, for putting this together. That's great. Thanks,
Yeah,
Valentina.
thank you, JJ, too.
I can't thank you enough for being here today. I could probably go another 2 hours with more questions, but let's kind of wrap it up. I've got two more things to ask you. We've got people on the call that might want to connect, maybe people watching on YouTube later down the line. For those that want to reach out to you, what would be the best way to connect if they had a question or something? Would it be your MySpace page? Would it be your TikTok? Do you have a website? What would be the best way to reach you?
Best way to reach me. Yeah, I would say go on to my website. I have a few websites specifically, but womenswealthnetwork.net. And then just put in your information and I'll get it. And and then my email is everywhere. Ginger@cellularbayareahome.com or text. So, but yeah, those are all.
Okay, let me share my screen. And this should be your website. And this would be your website, is that correct?
That is correct.
Great. So feel free, Dave Scarf, feel free to share this. And again, guys, this would be the best way to get a hold of Ginger. There she is. And fantastic. And again, that's womenswealthnetwork.net. What is the importance of actually networking for these people using social media to the success of their business? And what would be the importance of joining a group like mine?
Yeah, thank you for this question. My first thought is JJ, you're doing a great job. And I'm just saying this, you're doing a great job. And with social media, it's a two-edged sword. And we're living in a world of incredible opportunity and danger. right? So that Chinese symbol, right, of danger and opportunity is always there. And that's the same thing with social media. Social media has predators out there. There are people who will take your money, like the gentleman was saying before our call about his mom and dad being ripped off by 50 grand back in the day. There are people out there right now, and they're posing as investors. They're posing, and they may be knowledgeable, and they may be dangerous. So it is necessary for us to forge quality relationships with people of integrity. Warren Buffett said that when he works with anyone, they have to have three qualities. They have to have energy, they have to have integrity, and they have to have knowledge. And he said if they have knowledge and energy but no integrity, they're a disaster, right? You don't want those. He said you want people to be lazy if they have knowledge and no character. We want them to be lazy, but we don't want them to be high energy. So it's critical, these groups, you're bringing people and you're making a culture, and you're very clear on what the culture is. The book Sapiens, that classic book, talked about how we evolved as creatures, as humans, and we evolved by gossiping. When we gossiped, what that meant was we actually protected the tribe from being hurt by telling people, watch out for this, come here, right? Come here and don't do this, don't do that. So in 30 years of the business, I've seen people who are very dangerous, and now it's amplified with social media. You are doing an excellent job of creating a culture, and you're telling people very specifically, we're friends. Now I know you, I'm getting to know you, and I know everybody on the call who's here now is saying, you know what, if you found out that there was a bad egg, they'd be gone like that. So this is critical in this industry. We need to have a team that we trust. And the minute they do not, they're not trustworthy, they need to go immediately, preferably sooner rather than later. So what you're doing is extremely important. Protect the tribe from the wolves and keep everybody on the up and up. Because the truth is, like you keep commenting on it, keep seeing how you're building this culture. We can all be successful and have it spiral up. It doesn't have to be sharks like the old days. It's just, we're not that way. We're not there anymore. There's too much opportunity going forward. We don't have to be, having the industrialists with a few people on the top and the masses. We can all grow and we can all be successful. So what you're doing is critical, and I appreciate what you're doing, JJ.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You guys are watching now on YouTube. Please like Ginger's video in the comment section below. Please put your takeaways, what you found important or informative. Let us know, what you thought was valuable. If you guys want to connect with Ginger, again, it's going to be womenswealthwork.net. If you want to connect,
Women's Wealth Network.
Wealth Network, womenswealthnetwork.net. If you want to connect with me, go to my website, jjazizian.com, and click the little register now button. And look for more videos coming up on Flipside-Up with JJ, and you'll see Ginger. They'll see you and I on social media, right? Your website, my website, and you've got an Instagram. You've got a YouTube channel as well, right?
I do. I'm going to get it activated again. I've been busy with projects, but
you're going to be growing and growing, and we'll just see you out there. So guys, look for Ginger, myself. We'll be out there on the internet, out there in networking land, and Ginger, we'll see them soon, right?
Yes. Thank you all. Thank you,
Thanks,
everybody.
guys. Thank you so much for joining us today.